Hello everyone, my name is John, and today we're diving into a truly chilling true crime tale. On Monday, September 14th, 2015, 16-year-old Nolan Buchanan experienced what he thought was the pinnacle of his young life. Just the day before, he had enjoyed a quintessential Sunday with his girlfriend, attending morning mass with her family, hanging out with friends, and capping it off with a romantic evening. That Monday morning, waking beside the girl he adored, Nolan felt on top of the world, like a successful, influential CEO with the future at his fingertips. After all, he had just become the proud heir of Buchanan Construction, envisioning a future where he would steer the family business to new heights, surpassing even his father's efforts, who had led the company to the brink of bankruptcy. But how quickly fate can twist. By October 1st, 2015, Nolan's dream had crumbled spectacularly. Arrested at Bonita High School in Bonita, California by the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office, Nolan found himself confined at the Juvenile Treatment Center in South Lake Tahoe. His trial concluded on June 13, 2018, when a jury, after only 2 hours of deliberation, found him guilty on multiple serious charges. The verdict was harsh: 150 years in prison, with a possibility of parole after 25 years. Just like that, Nolan's ambitious plans to take over the family empire were dashed. Despite this, those who knew him, neighbors, classmates, continued to speak of him as a model student and a seemingly kind person. "As far as I know, he was a good kid," remarked Campbell Ruan, a student from Bonita High School, during an interview. "He was always focused on school, seemed very kind, and was really nice. It's surprising that he was arrested." But what truly happened within the Buchanan family? Let's delve deep into this grim saga. Molly first crossed paths with Adam Buchanan when she applied for the office manager position at his firm. At that time, Adam, a divorced single father, was raising his son Nolan. Molly, with her vibrant and outgoing personality, quickly caught Adam's attention, sparking a mutual attraction. Their relationship blossomed into a deep romance, leading to Molly moving in and dreaming of forming a tight-knit, loving family. Not long after, she was pregnant with Gavin, hoping to bond even further with her stepson Nolan. People close to the Buchanans saw them as a close-knit family unit of 4. Adam, through his construction company, earned enough to afford a comfortable lifestyle, which included a rustic vacation property in El Dorado County, California. This 19-acre property in Greenwood featured a quaint cabin, lacking modern amenities, which Adam, with his construction skills, was keen to renovate. The family enjoyed many a getaway to this serene retreat. However, tragedy struck on September 13, 2015. At 10 a.m., the Garden Valley Fire Department rushed to a wildfire in Greenwood Township on Highway 193. Upon arrival, they discovered that the fire had devastated 10 acres and completely destroyed the cabin. Amid the smoldering ruins, firefighters initially thought the remains were that of a pet, but a more horrifying discovery awaited. The coroner, called to the scene, detected the unmistakable smell of burnt flesh and soon uncovered a human skull and torso among the charred debris, indicating a tragic loss of life. As investigators combed through the remains, they identified that the property was a vacation spot, not a primary residence, further hinted by a Dodge truck and trailer found nearby. Quickly running the vehicle's plates revealed they belonged to Buchanan Construction. The grim puzzle began to take shape, linking the fire's location to Adam Buchanan, who resided 160 miles away. What followed was an unraveling of events that no one could have anticipated, drawing back the curtain on a family's dark secrets, ensnared in a deadly twist of fate. Let's continue to unravel this intricate mystery as we piece together the chilling events leading up to that fateful fire. Located about 3 hours away in Bonita, California, this grim discovery led the police to assume that the house served as a mere rural getaway for city dwellers seeking tranquility. The pressing question was who had been inside the cabin at the time of the fire. Was it Mr. Buchanan or someone else? With Adam Buchanan's name tied to the company that owned the burned-out property, detectives were handed their initial lead to unravel the mystery. The task fell to the local police in Bonita to verify the well-being of all Buchanan family members. Arriving at the Buchanan residence, officers observed a white Ford pickup in the driveway. Upon knocking, Adam's teenage son, Nolan, answered the door, visibly puzzled by the presence of police. The officers first aimed to determine who was at home, hoping to avoid alarming anyone unnecessarily. Nolan explained that his father, Adam, along with his stepmother Molly and half-brother Gavin, had gone to their country estate 160 miles away for the weekend and were expected back that evening. He was left in charge of their main house. At this point, detectives had no concrete evidence to connect the Buchanans to the human remains found in the cabin. However, the discovery of remains believed to be two people by the evening of September 13th led to the family being reported missing in El Dorado County. The following day, El Dorado County Police visited Nolan's home to delve deeper into the investigation and determine the victims of the tragic fire. They were greeted by Adam's parents, Howard and Susan Buchanan, who expressed their growing worry, having been unable to reach Adam or Molly. From the conversation, officers learned that the cabin was equipped with generators, although it had no electricity at the time of the fire. However, there were gas cylinders inside. This detail spawned two theories. The fire could have been either an accident or an act of arson. By September 15th, the site had cooled sufficiently for a thorough examination. Detective James Peterson from the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office disclosed that new evidence had significantly shifted the direction of the investigation. A piece of skull with a bullet hole was discovered among the debris, indicating a violent act rather than an accidental blaze. At that moment, we all realized we were dealing with a homicide, the sheriff reported. Further forensic DNA testing was conducted. One victim had a bullet lodged in the thigh, and another smaller skull hinted at a child's death. These grim findings solidified the murder theory, dismissing any notion of accidental death. Investigators then had to unravel the possible motives. Was it a robbery gone awry, or something more sinister within the family? Or could the motive be linked to Adam Buchanan's professional life as the president and COO of Buchanan Construction, where a disgruntled associate might seek revenge? Initially, detectives explored the possibility of a business-related grudge, but soon, the focus shifted towards troubles within Adam and Molly's marriage. It was revealed that their relationship had soured over time, with the couple sleeping separately well before the tragedy. A diary found in the home chronicled instances of abuse by Adam, corroborated by interviews with witnesses who described his harsh treatment towards both Molly and the children. Molly's mother, Susie Slanker, confided to detectives, "There were times when I feared they would kill each other during their arguments." Despite the volatile relationship, Molly often left with her son during heated disputes only to return days later, setting the stage for yet another confrontation. This domestic backdrop painted a troubling picture, suggesting a household rife with tension and conflict, potentially leading to the catastrophic events at the cabin. It was also revealed that Adam and Molly Buchanan enjoyed hunting in the vicinity of their country house. Given this, investigators theorized that perhaps during a heated argument, one spouse might have impulsively grabbed a gun, leading to a tragic shooting. Realizing the gravity of what had occurred, the shooter could have then taken their own life. However, this theory quickly hit a snag. No weapon was found near the remains, which would be expected if this were the case. Investigators speculated that the intense fire might have damaged or concealed the weapon, making it difficult to find. For 5 meticulous days, forensic teams sifted through the ashes of the burned house with great care, but their efforts yielded no firearm. Eventually, forensic analysis provided definitive answers. The bodies were identified as Adam Buchanan, Molly McAfee, and their 8-year-old son. All 3 had been shot before the fire, and the angle of the wounds ruled out suicide, pointing instead to a 4th person who had carried out the killings and then vanished, taking the weapon with them. With this new, unsettling information, the police had no choice but to revisit the investigation, starting with Nolan, the 16-year-old son left behind. Nolan explained that the family had taken an old Dodge truck on their trip, as his father preferred it over his personal Ford due to the truck being loaded with rocks for landscaping around their country cabin. This was the same truck found near the destroyed home. When questioned why he hadn't joined his family, Nolan reiterated that he had been entrusted with the responsibility of looking after the house and garden during their absence. Nolan also mentioned that his father frequently clashed with a neighbor who was cultivating illegal marijuana on the outskirts of their property. Adam had often threatened to report this to the police, which led to regular confrontations. On the subject of the family business, Nolan described Buchanan Construction's severe financial troubles. The company had been struggling, with significant downsizing reducing its workforce to just 5 employees, and mounting debts threatening bankruptcy. This information gave the investigation a clearer direction, pointing toward the disgruntled neighbor. Given the area's history of violent crime associated with illegal crops, detectives suspected the neighbor might have murdered the Buchanans to avoid police involvement. However, this theory soon fell apart as investigators struggled to identify which neighbor Nolan had mentioned. After canvassing the neighborhood and interviewing residents, they found a man who admitted to disputes with Adam over the marijuana but insisted that the issue had been resolved amicably. His alibi for the time of the murders was solid, eliminating him as a suspect. With this lead exhausted, detectives turned their attention back to the financial woes of Buchanan Construction. On September 18th, they interviewed the company's remaining employees and confirmed Nolan's accounts of the business's dire situation. The company was teetering on the brink of bankruptcy with debts surpassing $30,000, leading to numerous layoffs. Several former employees were reportedly very unhappy about their dismissals, raising the possibility that one of them might have had a motive for revenge. Then came a stroke of luck. On the weekend following the murders, a community cleanup event was held at a local high school near Adams Construction Company. During the cleanup on September 19th, students discovered a small purse under a bush containing Molly McAfee's wallet and identification cards. Lying nearby was a .22 caliber rifle. This discovery provided a crucial breakthrough, indicating that the investigation was finally closing in on the truth behind the tragic deaths of the Buchanan family. Detectives swiftly arrived at the site where the purse and rifle were discovered. The El Dorado County Sheriff's Office formulated a new theory. The killer had used the .22 caliber rifle to murder the Buchanan family, then taken their documents from the crime scene. The fact that the killer had traveled from Greenwood, where the crime took place, back to Bonita to discard the evidence strongly suggested a local suspect. The proximity of the discovery to Buchanan Construction supported the idea that a disgruntled employee might have committed the crime. The detectives sent the rifle and the documents for forensic analysis and requested a search warrant to examine the company's records and premises. Their investigation took a fortunate turn when they discovered a surveillance camera at the company's site. The camera, rather serendipitously, was aimed not at the company itself but at the center of the parking lot. This discovery marked a pivotal moment in the case, bringing them closer to solving it. Knowing the family had left town on Friday, investigators reviewed the footage from that day. To their surprise, the video revealed Adam Buchanan hitching a trailer filled with rocks to a Ford F-150, not a Dodge truck, as Nolan had previously claimed. This discrepancy raised suspicions that Nolan might have been misleading the investigation. If the white Ford had transported the trailer to the cabin, someone must have driven it back and parked it in the Buchanan driveway. Detectives re-interviewed Nolan, carefully questioning him to extract as many details as possible while ensuring his safety. Nolan repeated his account of the weekend, describing his whereabouts and activities. This time, detectives pressed him for specifics such as the movie he watched, how he paid for mall purchases, and how he covered the cost of dessert on a date. Nolan revealed he had used his father's credit card. Armed with this new information, officers obtained a warrant to search the Buchanan home, inspect the vehicles, and review financial records. The white Ford was still in the driveway, and a detailed examination revealed reddish soil clinging to its wheels, resembling the soil found in Greenwood. Although the fire had obliterated the tire tracks at the country house, the soil on the Ford's wheels suggested it had recently been to Greenwood. Tracing the bank card transactions, detectives discovered that Adam Buchanan had used his credit card on Friday, September 11th, at a Taco Bell while en route to Greenwood. Contradicting his earlier statement, Nolan claimed he had stayed home and did not travel with his parents, yet he had possession of the credit card. Detectives then visited the Taco Bell and reviewed security footage, which confirmed what they suspected. A white Ford, not a truck, was present. Upon searching the Ford, Investigators found a Taco Bell receipt from September 11th that showed an order for 4 drinks, not 3. Evidence at the scene of the fire also indicated 4 drink cups, suggesting Nolan had indeed been with his family. The next credit card charge occurred on Saturday, September 12th, at the Valencia Club Bar in Buchanan, about 30 minutes from the cabin. This placed Nolan in close proximity to the crime scene, casting further doubt on his earlier claims and inching the investigation closer to unveiling the truth behind the Buchanan family's tragic demise. Adam's parents had previously informed detectives about their frequent visits to the Valencia Club, a local bar where Adam and Molly liked to unwind after working on cabin renovations. Security footage from the bar confirmed the couple's presence, and traffic cameras captured their vehicle's movements. At around 2:30 a.m. on the day of the fire, a Ford F-150 was seen heading toward the Buchanan cabin, and about an hour later, at 3:30 a.m., the same truck was recorded traveling back in the opposite direction. The initial footage showed Adam and Molly in the vehicle. However, on the return trip, only Nolan was visible. On the morning of September 13th, a few hours later, Adam's credit card was used at several locations in Bonita, including Starbucks, McDonald's, and a gas station. Bank records confirmed that Adam had only 1 credit card, casting further doubt on Nolan's story. By this time, forensic results had come in, revealing Nolan's fingerprints on the gun. He was subsequently arrested while attending a high school class. Nolan Buchanan pleaded not guilty to the charges. He attempted to alter the narrative, claiming that his father had shot the family and then turned the gun on him. Nolan alleged that, in self-defense, he wrestled the weapon away, accidentally shooting his father. He insisted that the subsequent fire and false statements were made in a panic, driven by fear and confusion. He explained that he had used gasoline to set the house ablaze in an attempt to cover up what he thought was a terrible accident. The defense focused heavily on the alleged abuse Nolan suffered at the hands of his father, suggesting that his actions were driven by desperation. However, the medical examiner's testimony contradicted Nolan's version of events. The bullet wound on Gavin's skull suggested a shot fired at nearly a 90-degree angle, inconsistent with Nolan's claim that he was awakened by noise and saw an intruder shoot Gavin at an angle of about 45 degrees. Prosecutors argued that Nolan shot his brother while they were alone in the house, then waited for his parents to return and killed them as well. The positioning of the bodies suggested Adam was killed first, followed by Molly. Nolan then set the house on fire, took his parents' documents, and went on to create an alibi by spending the day with his girlfriend. The evidence painted a picture of premeditation and a calculated effort to cover up the crime. On July 13, 2018, a jury found Nolan guilty of 3 counts of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to 150 years in prison, with the possibility of parole after 25 years. In delivering the sentence, Judge Kingsbury acknowledged the abuse Nolan faced, noting that he claimed to have killed his brother to spare him from a similar fate. However, she also emphasized the deliberate nature of the crime, the arson, and Nolan's efforts to establish an alibi. She mentioned that Nolan had shared plans to run the family business with other family members, revealing his motive and premeditation. The judge pointed out Nolan's failure to follow rules and his deviant behavior while at the South Lake Tahoe Juvenile Treatment Center, where he had been held after his arrest. She urged Nolan to take the opportunity to change, stating, "Everyone has the opportunity to change. I hope you will do everything in your power to do so. If you behave well, you will have a chance to get out on parole in 25 years. It's up to you whether you take that chance or not." Nolan continues to maintain his innocence. If he is ever granted parole, he will be required to pay a significant compensation to the victims, although the exact amount is yet to be determined.